Hey, this is Doug with Workforce Gaming. This Pax East 2024 interview is part of a larger series where I spoke with developers, producers, level designers, motion capture artists, and programmers about the games they are presenting. Today's interview is about a survival horror game that time traveled from a period of low poly graphics and fixed camera angles, where your imagination is your worst enemy. I'm excited to present to you our interview with the creator of Heartworm. Hey, this is Doug with Workforce Gaming. I'm here with Vincent, the creator of Heartworm.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, not bad. So I've been kind of following this game for a while because I'm in my mid-30s, so I follow like the PS1 sort of horror scene, especially with Haunted PS1.
Yep.
I know Dread XP does something kind of similar. So where was like kind of your main inspiration? Why'd you go with sort of like a PS1 era as opposed to like a modern survival horror?
So part of it is just like my ability.
Sure. Yeah.
When I wanted to make a game for a long time.
Yeah.
And I kind of didn't because I was like, I can't create, high fidelity art assets at a fast enough pace to make a game. It'd take me years. Obviously this is taking me years, but
of course.
If it was a bigger project, it would take even longer. So
yeah.
I started basically just like, I can make low fidelity assets, and it still evokes feelings of the games that we used to play when we were, younger.
Yeah.
And people like that. I didn't realize people liked that. That was like, I thought people only liked, AAA games. So
sure. I think the thing that's kind of interesting, the thing I like about this sort of era of game, it still kind of allows for imagination because the fidelity isn't 100% the way there. But to me, it's like it allows you to kind of put more of my thoughts into it. Like Silent Hill 1 on PS1 to me is much scarier than the higher fidelity Silent Hill games. So I guess kind of on that note, do you have like an idea of like this is like I see you have like very high resolution art of like the character of Heartworm. Do you have sort of like a defined like this is what I want people to think, or are you kind of trying to like, hey, whatever they get from the game?
So yeah, like I do have some key art like for the characters,
sure.
But as far as like I really agree with what you said. Like I've been really into like old roguelikes lately, like
sure.
like ASCII stuff. Really old school stuff because I like using my imagination when I'm playing a game.
Yeah.
I don't want everything like explicitly shown or told to me. Like,
gotcha.
And I want to like that's really important for me when I'm putting this together. Is like I want to show people just enough to like get them worried maybe about what's next.
Yes,
like that's so I'm trying.
No, I mean it's working. I'm seeing the game here, just like it's very evocative look, and I think it is because that PS1 stuff. It gives this sort of like evocative look to it that I really enjoy.
Yeah.
So what are some of your like kind of inspiration? So I know it's kind of using the it's not using pre-rendered backgrounds, but it's using that kind of camera angles and stuff.
Yeah.
So what are the sort of static camera angle games that you were inspired by? Like what's the one you grew up with? Were you a Resident Evil guy, a Silent Hill guy?
I was Resident Evil 1
Sure.
on the PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
That was like the first game, one of the first games I ever like really played. Like,
okay. Yeah.
Like I played some Super Nintendo games before, but the PlayStation was my first console, like personally.
Yeah.
So I played so much Resident Evil 1.
Sure.
And I love that game. I know people love 2.
Yeah.
To me, 1 is the best.
Interesting. Yeah.
It's a controversial opinion, but it's just like something so like unnerving about it. Like it's very liminal. Like all the rooms, there's like nothing in them. Like it's just like really weird and like. Yeah, I don't know.
And the translation's a little weird too. So there's just like it's funny sometimes with like older Japanese games where the translation's like a little wonky. It kind of adds to that sort of like atmosphere of being just a little bit wonky.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So again, this is based on kind of like it looks like a lot like older PS1 games. Mm-hmm. Are there like modern mechanics where like you liked Resident Evil 1 on PlayStation?
Yeah.
Are there like modern mechanics where you're like, I should probably pull this in? I mean, it's cool to be evocative in PS1 era, but we got to have some like modern quality of life improvements.
Definitely. So that's a big thing for me. I think like I wanted to evoke those, nostalgic feelings, but I also want to appeal to people who like maybe not, didn't necessarily grow up with those games or aren't like patient, understandably enough to like want to play with tank controls or whatever.
Sure.
So I added modern controls as an option, modern being like camera relative.
Yes.
Like the Resident Evil remake for the GameCube.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about tank if you don't like that. And then combat, I've kind of modernized. It switches from fixed camera to over the shoulder.
Oh, really? That's
during combat.
Yeah, I've tried. I don't think I've seen it.
Yeah, we haven't gotten to it. They haven't gotten to it yet, but it's
that's really cool.
Kind of inspired by Metal Gear Solid 2. You could go into first person.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, like maybe like kind of like Resident Evil 4 meets Resident Evil 1, you know?
Yeah.
But like combat's really not the focus of the game, so like that's kind of a
survival horror. I mean, I would hope it's not, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely more interested in the atmosphere and puzzle solving aspect, resource management, all of that. But definitely attempting to modernize it in ways to make it more accessible. So
okay,
yeah.
All right, thanks. Can I know sometimes a little touchy around PAX when this is coming out, sort of thing. So
yeah, so 2025,
okay,
early 2025 is the plan. Honestly, the game will be done this year.
Okay,
it's just a matter of finding a appropriate release window, basically.
Sure. Yeah, yeah. It's been a little killer out there.
There's a lot
lately.
of stuff coming out. You know, Silent Hill 2 remake. Like that's so it's but 2025. Yeah.
Right. So. Thanks. No, I really appreciate taking the time for it.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Thanks.
All right.